Is your sewing room ready for a fresh start in 2025? Are you ready for a fresh start in 2025? Whether you are drowning in fabric or your tools are completely MIA at the moment, today we're going to dive into the ultimate sewing room declutter. Let's get your space organized and ready for your most creative year yet. Hi, I'm Christen with I See Stars Quilting. If you're like me, your sewing room can go from completely organized to complete chaos in absolutely no time. But I've learned myself that a clutter-free space isn't just about tidiness. It's about creating an environment that inspires creativity and makes quilting more enjoyable. Today, I'm sharing my favorite tips for organizing your fabrics, tools, and your space. You know what? You are worth every single second of extra work that it takes, every single moment that gets you into a space that you are inspired and completely on fire to create in. First up, let's tackle the fabric stash. It is a sight to behold for any quilter out there. If your shelves are overflowing or if you're holding on to scraps from years ago, it's time to reevaluate your fabric, okay? Here's how I suggest to do it. The best way to store your fabric can vary from quilter to quilter. So take this advice with a grain of this is how I do it, but it's not necessary for you to do it this exact way. I like to separate my fabric into categories like yardage, fat quarters, and then scraps. This helps you see what you have when you're shopping your own stash. First question you're gonna wanna ask is, do I love this fabric? The second question is, do I see myself using this fabric anytime in the near future? Near future could mean the next year. It could be in the next 5 years. It could mean, do I see myself ever using this fabric? We're going to create a space filled with things that you absolutely love. So if the answer is no, it might be time to let that fabric go. We also want to make sure that when we declutter or we clean out our fabric spaces, our creative spaces, we want to declutter with purpose. So you can donate the fabric that you no longer love to a local guild or charity. Or there's also the option of selling your fabric online. There's a lot of people who buy fabric online on eBay as well as Etsy. So this step of decluttering and letting go of things and giving yourself the permission mostly of letting go of things that you know you're not going to use anymore or things that you know you don't love anymore. This step is so satisfying because you're not just decluttering, right? I mean, this time of year that word gets thrown around like confetti over everything. Declutter this and declutter that, right? What you're doing is you're making room for the fabrics that truly inspire you in your space so that you are surrounded by things that inspire you and don't make you feel overwhelmed, right? So next, let's talk about tools. Scissors, rotary cutters, rulers, seam rippers, pencils, pens, all of the magical things that we have, right? They're essential, but they can take over if we're not careful because all of us love to have extras, right? We love to have extras. We love to have one over on this side of the room and one over on that side of the room, right? So let's talk about keeping those items in check, okay? What I want you to do when you get ready to do this step is I want you to gather everything that you have. You can lay out all of your tools and take stock. You might be surprised by how many duplicates you have, and that's okay, okay? I have many duplicates of the tools that I use most often as well. So when you're designing your space, you want to designate a space for your most used tools. I like using a rolling cart if I know that I'm going to be in two separate places, while I'm working on a project. I also have a set of drawers that is right next to my sewing machine, and then I have a set of drawers that is over by my cutting table. I also have a rolling cart that is over next to my longarm machine in the other room. I like using those as designated spaces. That way I feel more likely to put the tool back where it goes every single time, as opposed to walking over to like a different table or my desk and misplacing my tools, right? I like using the rolling carts. Like I said, they're really, really handy, or like a tabletop caddy that you can carry from space to space. This keeps everything within reach while you work, and it really makes it easy to keep up with your tools and make sure that they stay in good condition. If you have tools that you use less often, you can store those in labeled bins or separate drawers to reduce clutter. So when you reach into a drawer, you're not having to dig down through 17 pairs of paper scissors to get to the 2 pairs of fabric scissors that you have, right? And if something's broken or unused, you can consider letting that go too. Or you can consider passing it on to a friend who might be able to make better use of it. Finally, let's get to the fun part. Let's create a workspace for you that inspires creativity. Even small changes can make a big difference. Take it from me, you do not need a huge budget to make a difference in the space that you have, to make it more creative, to make it more freeing for you, and to make it a space that you enjoy coming into. What you need to start with is choosing a layout that works for you. Think about how you work best. Do you need a larger cutting surface or a designated sewing table? And you can adjust your space to fit your workflow. Even if you're sewing in like your dining room, figure out a workflow of where you can go from station to station while you're in there and get your stuff done. So you're not having to constantly shift things around and take away precious creative time just to make things work, right? You can also add personal touches, which is, I love doing this. It just, it comes quite naturally to me, where I love to decorate my space. I love to feel like I'm in a Better Homes and Gardens magazine. I love to feel like I am in a space that is really, truly precious. And every little detail kind of becomes like this little like intimate, item that I have chosen to put in that space for my own inspiration, my own creativity. You know, decorate with things that bring you joy. You can put a favorite quilt on the wall to make you feel a little bit cozy in there. All of those colorful spools of thread, they are perfect decoration, and they didn't cost you anything extra because you use those as part of your tools, right? You can even add a cozy chair or something in your room that makes it feel nice and extra in there, okay? Now, one thing I will say that is not it's not something you should really budge on is lighting, okay? Lighting is key. You wanna make sure that your space is well lit. A good desk lamp or a natural light can make sewing so much easier on your eyes. It makes things easier on your back as well, because you're not having to like hunch over to look at your piece. You're able to sit back with a much better posture and see what it is that you're working on. It makes such a difference on your eyes, less strain on your eye muscles and your face muscles as well. Now, if you're ready to take your decluttering to the next level, I've got something to make it very simple for you. I've got a 25-day ebook guide that has helped so many quilters really take it one step at a time, because I know how hard it is when you are looking at a room that has not seen a lot of love in a while, okay? It feels overwhelming, and you really need somebody to just help you make it through one single step at a time, right? To create the space of your dreams. And every single creative out there, every single artist, every single quilter is absolutely worthy of that. It's one manageable task with detailed steps every single day to transform your sewing room. Not only does it walk you through organizing your fabric, your tools, and your workspace, but it includes a budget guide to help you make money back by cleaning out your stash. Imagine if you could turn what you see as clutter into cash and finally have a space that inspires you to create everything in your wildest dreams, right? However, I'm not just going to stop there, because I want to give those people who really need the extra help. They need that extra push. They need this step-by-step guide to help them create the space of their dreams. You can get it from this link only that is in this video for $7. Download it, get started on it tonight or tomorrow if tonight is already done for you, okay? Get started on it tomorrow. In that guide, I have shopping suggestions, I have budget suggestions, I have layout suggestions. All of that is in there. So don't forget to grab a copy of that ebook if you are ready to transform your space. I would love to hear what your biggest sewing room challenge is. Let me know down in the comments, and just tell me like what it is that bothers you the most about your sewing room. It could be the size of your sewing room. It could be that you have taken on so much fabric from friends and relatives, and you know, maybe you collect more fabric than you sew with, and display space is a little bit scarce in your room. You know, I have so many fabrics in my room that I I'm not sure I'll ever turn into a quilt, but gosh, I love those fabrics, and those are my precious collection fabrics, right? So let me know what your struggles are in the comments. I love to see how I can make your life easier, because organization is a passion of mine. Helping quilters is another passion of mine. And also working through all of my own problems, right? Can you, like, you hear that? Like, that's a passion of mine too. I greatly appreciate when people show my video support and when my information that I'm sharing with you is helpful to you. And I cannot wait to see all of the beautiful things that you are going to create in 2025. Let me know what your biggest projects are that you're creating too, because I know some of us are setting some pretty big goals for 2025, and honestly, it's a little bit scary and a little bit thrilling and exciting for me. So I have a couple of my own big projects that I'm already like super jazzed about and excited about. So let me know what you're working on. Until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm Christen with I See Stars Quilting, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.